Good morning, everyone. I have Toby Woolrych, CFO of Renewi, with me. Welcome back to Edison TV, Toby. It's great to have you with us. Do you want to start by telling me how lockdown has been for you?
Well, Neil, lockdown seems a bit of a while ago now, doesn't it? But it's been not too bad here in leafy Surrey. I have a lot more sympathy for other colleagues who were stuck in places which were less enjoyable to spend time. But the organisation is well, and we're trading well, as we'll talk about during this coming conversation.
What were the highlights of FY20 and trading up to the AGM?
Well, we announced our annual results for the year ended March 2020 in June, and then we issued another trading statement with our AGM in July. And if we look back at the last year, it was a robust year. We made good progress. We achieved our profit expectations. The core commercial divisions that make up around 3/4 of our revenue, they grew profit despite tougher markets and the onset of COVID. At ATM, we reopened for business after a 2-year hiatus. And we also saw the benefits of restructuring in our monostreams division and the reconfiguration of our Derby contract in municipal. Now, we can't be proud of the level of exceptional items over the last couple of years, and we have a firm intent to reduce or even eliminate them going forward. On the cash side, we had 2 successful strategic disposals, raising over 100 million euros, and cash was good across the board. We reduced net debt by 20%, and our free cash flow increased 5-fold. And we capped out the year with a successful secondary listing on the Euronext Amsterdam in January.
You mentioned the recovery at ATM. Would you mind expanding on that?
Well, ATM is one of our largest sites, and it takes highly contaminated soil in and it cleans it using a thermal process. Now, that market for thermally cleaned soil was closed for the last 2 years due to queries about the safety of the clean soil. Now, these have been fully answered, and the market has been reopened substantially on the same basis as before. So we're now working to reopen the market. That means reinvigorating the incoming projects and working with local regulators to open outlets for the clean soil. But at ATM, we've also got an additional and a really positive project to further process that thermally clean soil into dust, sand and gravel, and they can be used in the concrete, cement and asphalt industries. Now, the market response has been positive, and capacity is being put in place right now and this year to convert an increasing proportion of those materials into building products. This is called upcycling. It's good for the environment. It's good to open new diverse markets for us, and ultimately it should have higher margins.
Thank you, Toby. And what is clearly a focus for the market, everyone is watching as we get into the second half how companies are reporting on the impact of COVID. Do you mind updating us on the impact COVID has had on the business and what mitigation you've taken?
Well, COVID has had a huge impact, hasn't it? But first off, we're an essential service. So what we do, collecting waste from businesses, hospitals, government bodies, houses, it has to keep going. So we had to take action swiftly to ensure the safety of our people so that they could keep doing their jobs. And we're really proud of and grateful to our employees who kept up the full required capacity throughout the lockdowns. And in fact, we were visited by Mark Rutte, the Dutch Prime Minister, and Stientje van Veldhoven, the Minister responsible for waste, who wanted to see how we were doing and to express their thanks. Now, innovation is also one of our core values, and it really came to the forefront here. Firstly, in the measures we put in place to protect our people so that we could carry on working. Secondly, in the way we worked with partners to introduce a recycling process for hospital masks. In just 2 weeks, we introduced a capability to recycle 48,000 masks a day and put it back into the front line where the hospitals were busy. And now we've introduced a new hygienic cleaning station for offices to help them with their reopening. Now, like every business, we've been economically impacted, but the impact has been around half what we originally feared, which had been 20 million euros. We think the impact 12 million euros in the first quarter. And our net debt has been really positive, even allowing for the fact we've had some benefits of government tax deferrals. Our net debt was neutral throughout the entire lockdown period. So with 260 million euros of liquidity at year end, 290 million at the end of the first quarter, we're in really good shape.
You announced a refreshed strategy. Would you mind explaining to our viewers what that entails?
Well, people have described COVID as a crisis and climate change as a catastrophe, and we address the challenge of climate change. Our end markets continue to evolve in a positive way for us, with governments, societies and companies all determined to reduce carbon emissions and to reuse materials. In just the last year, the Circular Economy Action Plan outlines how the EU intends to accelerate this. And just a few months ago, the Dutch government introduced a discussion document about the introduction of carbon taxes that will, among other things, stimulate recycling. So our strategy is based on three core areas that will drive sustainability and which should also increase our margins. The first is quite straightforwardly to divert more waste away from landfill and incineration and to recycle more. Today, we at Renewi recycle around 65% of the waste we receive, which is already in line with long-term EU targets. But over the next 5 years, we intend to reduce the amount that we can't recycle by nearly a third and increase our recycling rate to around 75%. And this will be through new technologies, such as the recycling of mattresses, an investment that we made just last year. The second strategy is to add more value to the products we make by improving their quality. And a good example of this is the upcycling at ATM I talked about a moment ago, but also investments to make wood or stone higher quality and therefore higher value. The third strategic pillar, and less important for now, is to increase volumes through market share gains, through bolt-on M&A, and ultimately through geographic expansion. Also worth just noting that we have relaunched our sustainability strategy at the same time for the next 5 years.
You also mentioned the Renewi 2.0 program. Again, would you mind expanding on that for our viewers?
Well, Renewi 2.0 underlines the market-facing strategy. We've just brought to an end the integration of the two legacy companies to create Renewi, and these delivered the 40 million euros of cost synergies on time. However, when we look back at what we've created, we think the business has further opportunities to take the next step to digitize and to have modern processes that will be a platform for the future. The focus is twofold: to invest in a new customer-facing portal to improve the customer experience and their service, to let them control their collection options, to let them control and improve the data that we're handling, and have better information about, for example, their sustainability performance. We will then standardize and simplify our internal processes, focusing on where we add a differentiated value to the customer and removing obsolete activities. When we succeed over the next 3 years, we will have happier customers, happier employees, and we'll measure both of those as key parts of the project. But we also expect to reduce cost to a run rate of 20 million euros per annum by the end of March 2023.
Toby, given the last 6 months that we've been through, it's great to hear a company which is looking outward and on an expansionary footing. Well done for the year just delivered, and we're looking forward to hearing more from you in the coming months.